Okay, hold on, I'll be right back. Okay. Adjust this. Okay. Hope that should be good. Let's see. Let's move this back a little bit. Okay, we're getting better. We're testing this on my phone for the first time for the live. So, okay. That's better. Okay, so we're gonna start by, I have this cake stacked and filled and crumb coated, and now we're gonna do the final coating. And then I'm also gonna show you how I make my chocolate ganache for the ganache strips. But first, let's start with finally coating the buttercream, or the buttercream on the outside of the cake. Okay. So I'm using some Swiss meringue buttercream for this cake, which is probably my favorite buttercream because it's a lot less sweet than your typical buttercream. Let me see, I want to make sure I can see you guys are talking. Okay, this is new. So like I said, we're testing this out on my phone this time just to see how it works differently from my regular computer. Okay, I want to make this just a wee bit softer. So sometimes if the consistency is still just a little bit too thick, I like to just warm it up a tiny bit in the microwave just to get it a little bit softer, smoother, so it goes easier on the cake. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we've got our buttercream. There we go. It's a little bit smoother. And this should go much easier on the cake. Okay, so see, nice and a little bit softer. So it's gonna spread easier on this cake. And definitely between your crumb coat and your final coat, you definitely want to, you're gonna definitely want to chill it. So I chilled this in the freezer for probably about 10-ish minutes, and then I popped it just into the fridge so that the full cake itself wouldn't get too cold, because sometimes if like the entire thing gets too cold, if you leave it in there for too long, when you actually do your final coat and do all that kind of stuff, it actually might start to kind of have a little bit of condensation that actually makes your buttercream kind of start to crack and fall off. So we definitely don't want to do that. Okay, I'm just spreading a nice layer. All right, let me know. I don't know, just type something random, how your day is going, what you're up to today. I want to see if I can see comments on here, because at the moment I don't. All right, got a teeny little piece of cake in my outer buttercream, so I'm gonna remove that. Okay, I think I need to. The top doesn't matter too much because we're going to be covering it completely in the chocolate ganache, but I still want to try to make it nice and smooth. Okay. Ooh, see, it's a little bit, it is very soft, but because the cold cake, it does set relatively quickly. Okay, so there's a little bit of buttercream on everything. So we're going to grab our cake scraper. And to get really, really smooth sides, I like to warm this up under like hot water, or sometimes I'll use my kitchen torch, but usually I just do hot water and then I'll scrape the sides because the heat from the metal part on this is going to help kind of gently melt and kind of make a really nice smooth outside. Just forgot to clean that up. Okay. Okay, just kind of warming up the water a little bit. Okay. All right, and then I run it under just a little bit just to kind of get it warmed up, and then I wipe off any water. And then let's see if I can scoot this back a little bit so you can kind of see the side while I'm doing this. So here's our warmed side. And then we're going to just turn, turn, turn. For this first run, we're just trying to get a good chunk of the buttercream off, and then we're going to start to smooth it out. And also, if you see, it's nice and messy, and we're going to kind of clean this off in between each time we do the scraping of the buttercream. And then let me also show you, well, let's scrape a little more buttercream, and then I'll show you how I do it with the kitchen torch. I'll hold it nice and straight. Kind of at like a, we're trying to go at like a 45-degree angle to the cake, so it kind of nicely scrapes off buttercream. Okay. And then before we do more scraping, we're gonna go in and add some more buttercream, kind of do like a little bit of buttercream repair, essentially, kind of filling in spots like this and around here, just to make sure that we fill in all those little gaps. And I think I did my crumb coat a little bit too thin, so I'm gonna cover up little crummies that got right here. It's nice and messy right now, but we'll clean it up. Oh, wait, hold on. Thought I just saw, why can't it let me see comments? Live chat. Ah, there we go. Hello. Yes, I'm going vertical format today to see, I wanted to see how it would look. I've been using just either a laptop or my desktop computer webcam, and I wanted to try it out on my phone today to see how it looks. And I do like that I can kind of get more up and close to it. Now with this part, you'd have to be generous with adding your buttercream because, again, we're going to scrape it off. Let's see, where else? I think that looks pretty good for right now. We're going to do another scraping. And again, you want to clean your cake scraper off in between so that there's no buttercream on the side here. All right, nice and clean. And then we're using the kitchen torch for this part to warm this up so that it gets this a little more smooth. Because cold cake and warm cake scraper. There we go. I'm gonna do this with the other hand because I'm used to doing it with my right hand. Ooh. So we're just, Okay. So I just barely warmed this. Try not to touch that metal because it is very hot. And we're doing about 45-degree angle to the cake and just gently scraping off the buttercream. And whereas before it was a lot more like patchy and messy, you can see it's a lot more smooth because it kind of gently scrapes away the buttercream. And we're going to scrape that back into our bowl. And then at this point, when you want to get your cake to start looking really, really nice and smooth, that's when I warm in between pretty much every step of doing the cake scraper. So, let's see, I'm gonna do this again with this thing, but I gotta be careful because this does have plastic on it, so I gotta aim like right at the edge right here. Just right along the edge so it doesn't melt that plastic, just like that. And then we're going to, once again, just gently scrape away. And you can see if it gets like, it's like melting the buttercream along that too. That helps it get really, really smooth. Okay. Why does the chat keep wanting to disappear on me? There we go. Keeps like wanting to go away. Okay. I usually like to use the water instead of the torch, but it does work if you're in a pinch with it. I'm going to add a little more buttercream because we can see that there are some patches like right here, over here, right there, that are starting to get little holes in them or kind of starting to expose too much cake. So we're going to add some more buttercream to those patches. It's kind of like just a slow process of just trying to get it as smooth as possible. Okay. Go right there. And right there. And this is actually a 12-inch cake, by the way, so it's a big boy. Haven't done a 12-inch in probably a couple years at this point, honestly. I'm usually doing mini cakes or at most like a 6-inch cake. Oh, thank you, James. I'm glad you find it satisfying. Sometimes I feel like I'm kind of like okay with watching this part of cake decorating, but I also like probably the decorating part is my favorite usually. But it is very soothing sometimes to watch cake decorating. That's like my main feed on Instagram is just constantly cake decorating stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna run it under hot water again. Okay. So then we're going to, once again, just the same thing over and over until you get it as smooth as you want, or you have to just accept that's as smooth as it's going to get, because sometimes that happens. Sometimes cakes just don't want to participate or cooperate, I should say, with you. And again, clean it off in between each time so that you don't get any of that buttercream on the cake scraper messing up your buttercream that you're trying to get nice and smooth. I'm going to add more buttercream right here, though. It's just kind of a process. Okay. I think I want to do the torch again. It does go a little bit quicker. Okay, and again, being careful to not touch that metal, which is why I like that there is this little nice grip on both sides. And then, again, slowly turning and scraping. And cleaning off in between, especially as we get towards like the end of this part. Definitely want to clean off more frequently. Okay. It's looking better. Still a couple little spots that I think I want to fix up a little bit. Looks like there's a little hole right here that doesn't want to go away. Go away. Ha, okay. We're gonna fill that in with some buttercream. Oop. Keeps wanting to move around. There we go. Add a little bit more buttercream and we should be good on that part. And adding a little bit more. Like I mentioned, the top it's not gonna have to be perfect, but I will want to get it kind of as smooth as possible because we're gonna pour a chocolate ganache over this that I'll show you how I make mine. Speaking of which, I should put this cream back. Okay. Oh, I had a question. Do you save the buttercream after scraping? Yes, I do. I actually save both the buttercream when I do the crumb coat. So like this little bowl right here has buttercream that has, you can see little pieces of cake in it. So with this, I'll add it to like chocolate cake to make some cake pops. But I always definitely try to save as much buttercream as possible. I don't like to be wasteful if I can help it with buttercream. It does take a little while to make, so I try and reuse it for either other parts of decorating the cake or, like I said, for cake pops or cupcakes, anything like that. If I have anything left over, I do try and use it for other projects or the rest of this one. Okay. It's weird. I have to like go and click into the chat every single time I want to check it out. So my apologies if I don't get, if I don't answer questions very quickly today. Okay. Oop. Another little spot. Okay. Okay, and let's do some more scraping. Okay. Whoop. Okay, you're falling off. Okay, that buttercream got very melty, but that shows how much warmer the torch definitely makes it compared to the water. I just do the water also because it, again, the nervous about this plastic part melting, but you got to be careful if you want to do it like that. And try to clean this off. Okay, I see another little spot right over here. Okay, so let's do our torch again. And again, I'm going right along the edge because I am trying to not melt this plastic right here. It's definitely want to avoid that. And again, slowly, just gently scrape away that extra buttercream. Whoop. Okay, and if you feel that if it seems like the cake scraper cools down a little bit, again, just a little more heat, just to get it nice and smooth. Just very gently. And as you can see, before I was turning it very quickly, now I'm turning it super slow, just to try to gently scrape it off and get nice clean sides. And sometimes just easier and quicker to rinse off the cake scraper. Okay. Set that there for a sec whilst I clean up this buttercream. Oop. There we go. Trying to keep our station pretty clean while we do this. Okay. So another round of, and again, while scraping, also fill in these little spots like this right there. And gently. Okay, let's see. It's getting to that point where I feel like it's gonna get kind of as smooth as it wants to be. But there's still some little bubbles, so sometimes I'll take a little stick kind of like this. Go poke those holes. Okay. And then we're gonna fill that in with just a wee bit of buttercream. Just a little bit. Oh, remove that cake piece. Okay. Okay. And once again, warming just the edge of our cake scraper to make it nice and warm. And then we're gonna gently go just like this. Okay, so it's getting pretty close. This spot is very stubborn. It doesn't want to stay covered. But I also sometimes like to pick a back, a back to my cake. So this might end up being the back because the front is looking pretty good, but it could be a little bit smoother. So let's see. Adding a little more buttercream. Okay. If you hear someone talking, that's my mom on a call.
I will. I'm not answering that question.
Okay. And again, just gently scrape again.
A Walmart grader, or at AT&T.
Again, I don't know if you can hear that, but yeah. And again, just very gently. Until we're happy with it. I think I'm pretty happy with that. I think that this is gonna probably be my front right here because it's like probably the smoothest right there. So let's do wrist off my opposite crap. I can't talk. Hold on. Okay. So now to smooth up the top right here, because I'm gonna want that nice and flat and even and everything. We're using offset spatula. There is a bigger version of this, but I always feel like I have much better control when using the small one. So this is the one I'm using right now. So we're going to very carefully scrape the buttercream in. Here, I usually go across from where I'm working, so it might be easier to see. Yeah. So we're gonna take this buttercream and just scrape towards us. And sometimes we might have to go back and do the sides again, but we're going to just go like this, kind of have it a little bit flat, but at a teeny tiny bit of an angle. And we're just gonna go like that. And scrape it into a bowl. Like I said, we wanna make sure we save whatever we can. And scrape again. And try to scrape off as much buttercream off of this as possible so that, again, it's pretty clean because it helps make cleaner strokes in between. Same thing. I think I want to add a teeny bit of buttercream to this top part over here, just to kind of fill it in a little bit. Okay. And again, you could do like scraping, towards you, like, or away from you like this, but I always like it better scraping kind of towards me like this way. That's just the way that feels most comfortable for me. I've seen people do it a whole variety of ways. If you freeze this after doing like the whole final coat on the outside, you can actually take a knife and cut off the top. I know someone who does that, and her videos are very satisfying, but I haven't been able to perfect that technique yet. It ends up looking a bit wonky, so I got some more practice on that part to do. Okay, and again, just continuing this all the way around the cake. And also we're scraping off obviously excess buttercream that we don't need on top. Usually I would make sure that this entire thing is really nicely covered in a pretty good layer of buttercream, but again, we're covering this in chocolate ganache, so it does not have to be perfect, which is why I love doing ganache strips, because it kind of covers up some of those imperfections. Okay, it's looking pretty good. I also like to do kind of like go around the top and just spin to try and kind of even everything. Just like that. And it looks like you can see there's a little bit of stuff kind of overhanging on the side. There's a little like kind of divot right here that kind of is popping out the side of the cake. So we're going to do another scrape along the side, and then hopefully one more like that and one more scraping into the middle will help finish off our cake.
Exactly. All right. Perfect. Great. Have a great weekend.
Okay. Oop, doesn't want to light. There we go.
Hello. Hello, people.
Okay.
I'm gonna go on mute though, okay? My daughter is doing a live, so I can't talk. All right.
So everything from line 55 to line 62, all those projects are now
Okay.
edition.
That's looking pretty good. It's not as perfectly smooth as I would usually go with, but I think that let's do one more with a little bit of the heat on it to just kind of, again, smooth it out just a wee bit. Okay. Okay.
You still on?
Yes, I could hear everything you were doing.
In the back?
Yeah, I don't know. They could. Okay. I think it's looking pretty good. There's some divots like that along the bottom, but I think I might actually do like a sprinkle border, which is going to cover up anything like that. So I think I'm pretty happy with it overall. And we're going to, once again, do a little bit of scraping just to kind of clean up the top. Okay. Just getting very close to being done with our final coat. I think that looks pretty good. Oh, let's fill in just a little bit right there. Okay. And to clean up the, let me scoot this back a little bit. Okay. So to clean up the cake board, I usually take like a wet paper towel and just kind of gently clean up the sides. Just making sure not to disturb the cake too much with this part. It's got pretty messy. Okay. And just continuing to clean up the sides. Okay. Looks like it's pretty much clean enough. I just want to make sure it's not going to get, obviously, the fridge or freezer all messy. That is not fun. Okay. I think we are good. So I'm going to go put this in the freezer for probably about 5 minutes because I want to make sure that the buttercream sets, maybe 10, but 5 to 10 minutes of freezing the buttercream. I just saw this little annoying thing right here. Okay. So that the buttercream sets, but not the inside of the cake, because again, if the inside of the cake freezes, then it's a whole thing that I can explain a little bit, but I will be right back. I'm gonna adjust this down for a sec. Okay. So again, that's going to set for about 5 to 10 minutes or so. Oh yes, I'm glad you could join and check out the cake being done. It's not always an exciting process for certain parts, but right now we're going to make our chocolate ganache. Here, I'm going to move this so you can see a little bit better. Aim this down a little bit. Okay. So this is our chocolate ganache for our drip. The reason I'm doing it now is because we don't want to put it on hot. We want to make sure that we kind of let it set for a little bit first. So, let's see. Okay. So I'm doing about 2 cups of chocolate chips. I have a mixture of some dark chocolate and also semi-sweet mostly. I kind of ran out of semi-sweet because it's very similar to dark chocolate. I just finished it off with dark chocolate. So about 2 cups or so. And then we got about a cup of heavy cream. Some people like to be super precise with even measuring like on a scale and stuff like that. I usually just do ratios, so 2 to 1, 2 cups to 1 cup for chocolate to milk or chocolate to heavy cream. It really should be heavy cream because that's how you make a really good ganache, is with heavy cream. I don't think I've ever seen anyone try and make a ganache with just milk. But we have it nice and pretty much covered. Get my handy dandy whisk out. I like to kind of poke it a little bit so everything is touching the cream. And then we're going to warm this. I like to use the microwave. You can use a double boiler or bain-marie. But I like to use microwave because it avoids the possibility of water getting into the chocolate and seizing it. So we're gonna pop this in the microwave for probably, I like to do about 45 seconds. I like to go in shorter increments so I make sure that it doesn't burn. Okay. And whilst that is going, I'm going to clean up a little bit of my stuff here. Trying to keep my station pretty much clean. So this is a basic birthday cake. I did a donation thing so I could be a sponsor for an event back in May when I wasn't able to make a cake for the event. So this kind of made up for being able to still be a sponsor. The marble. Oh, the marble counter. Yes, this is, I do live with my family and this is my mom loves purple. So the kitchen, but actually before I got into doing cakes and all that kind of stuff, that the kitchen was more so my mom's thing. And like she loves baking. That's how I got into baking. And so the marble countertop, she specifically found with her contractor a granite that had purple in it. So purple flakes. You can see the purple wall behind. So when we redid the kitchen, that was like, she had been dreaming of it for, I don't know, 20 plus years. So she was very, very excited to say the least. We're gonna give this a quick little mix just to see. The chocolate is starting to be a little melty, but you can see it's still pretty much staying in pieces. So we will have to pop this in the microwave again. I'm thinking for I think another 45 seconds. Trying to knock this chocolate out. Get out. Okay. Okay, another 45 seconds on this. Again, we're doing short increments because it is very easy to burn chocolate, and that's no fun because you have to completely start over. Okay. While your timing is precise. Not as precise as I'd like to be, but I feel like I've improved on my timing. But thank you for saying that. Yeah, I like to do, especially with making ganache, I'll start out about, if the chocolate chips are straight from the freezer, I'll do post for probably a minute right away and then slowly decrease the increments in it. Okay. We're looking a little better here. Okay, we can definitely tell it's getting nice and melted. We're checking to see if there's any little pieces of chocolate that are still not melted, because then it'll tell us if we need to pop it back in the microwave or not. looking pretty good. I think there's still little flecks that are not completely melted, so we're gonna do like 15-20 seconds on this. I'm doing 15 because I think that it's almost done. Let's check. I think the annoying thing about doing the live on my phone instead of my computer is that I have to go in and see the chat ever so often. Oh yes, like chocolate ganache is like the easiest thing ever to make, and you can make so many cool things with it. And it's so silky. So silky and delicious. Okay. Here is our chocolate. Like a wizard. Actually, I was a chemistry major in college, so I do like to be kind of precise. Probably that has something to do with it, I would think. Probably why I like baking more than cooking, because it's a little more precise. Okay, it looks pretty good to me. I think all the chocolate is melted. Yeah, that looks good to me. I think there's just little air bubbles that kind of get in here, but that's totally fine. Just gonna try and tap that off. And we're gonna let this set because it is too warm to add. So we're going to grab some saran wrap, which I'll go do really quick. So we're gonna cover this with saran wrap because that prevents a film forming on top. If you're making anything like pastry cream, ganache, anything like that, it films a form on the, oh my gosh, I got those reversed. It forms a film on the top, and basically that's just not a fun texture at all. It's like a little bit of a weird texture. I think people used to call them like pudding skin or something like that when they would make pudding, but now, to avoid that, we put saran wrap and we place it right along the top to avoid that forming. Get this out of my way. Okie doke. Okay, so again, pressing it right along the top to avoid that. And then we're going to pop this into the fridge to set a little bit faster. Sometimes you can leave this out and let it cool, but that takes like 20 or 30 minutes. So if you pop it into either the fridge or sometimes I'll do the freezer to kind of expedite the process a bit. It's probably about closer to like 10 minutes or so to cool it. Okay. So we have both of our items chilling. I think I don't want to leave the cake in the fridge or in the freezer for too long because again, don't want the actual cake itself to freeze. So I will be right back. I'm gonna go put that into the fridge instead. Okay, so we have our cake in the fridge so that the actual cake doesn't freeze too much. We don't want that condensation ruining the outer buttercream. And then we have our chocolate ganache that is setting in the fridge right now. Let me see if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm checking the chat now. Oh, thank you so much, Keith. That's so sweet of you to say. I love making desserts. If I had to pick my favorite, it definitely would be desserts over savory. I do like to dabble in savory, but there's something about desserts, especially giving them to people, that like the joy on their face is just the best thing ever. That's probably like one of my favorite reasons that I like to make desserts. Also because I grew up with my mom helping her bake at the holidays and all that kind of stuff. So she definitely had an influence on me. Okay. I'm kind of cleaning up my space a little bit. Like I said, I don't want too much stuff around. I'll put this back over here. Okay. And okay, what is next? I think I'm going to, I'm gonna pop the ganache in the freezer just to set a little bit faster, because I do want to do that on the live. I might not fully finish the cake on the live just because I'm still trying to figure out. The design is very, very basic. There wasn't a whole lot requested of it, so it's kind of just up to whatever I come up with, I guess. So I'm doing a chocolate ganache strip on the outside, and then I figured adding some kind of like rainbow sprinkles. It's for a lady's, it's for her son. And this is the first cake I've done as like a kind of order. Like I said, it was like for a raffle type thing and she won it. So, yeah, I haven't done like an order type thing in a while. So this is kind of interesting, but let me check the chat. Chat, come back. Hold on. Okay. Oh, Keith, you've been checking out stuff I've done over the past year? No worries about grammar or spelling or anything like that. Just thanks for being in the chat, participating. I love to see it. Let's pop that chocolate ganache in the freezer. I really want to show you guys how to do a chocolate ganache strip. That's probably like one of my favorite things. It's just so satisfying. So we're popping in the freezer for about 5 minutes or so, just to cool it just enough. I don't want to have it actually set. I still want it to be a little bit warm when we do the decorate on the cake. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. I don't know how it would be on a show. Like, I always think about doing baking competitions, like how cool it would be, but at the same time, I love desserts because you can spread things out so much. And with cooking competitions, it's such a time constraint that I don't know how it would be with that. I have thought about it though. I've talked to someone about their experience on a baking competition. They had fun with it, so who knows what the future holds. Maybe I'll apply for one, especially on like Food Network or something. I feel like they've been getting more baking competitions, like with their holiday ones especially. Oh, that'd be so much fun to do Halloween or Christmas. Oh, thank you, James. Yeah, this is just a really basic cake. It's, yeah, it's a pretty simple one. I'm not sure if anything I don't finish today, I'll definitely share probably in a short and or story and or post. to show the final version. I'm thinking about possibly doing like taking some candy melts and kind of doing like the son's name is Rob, and so she said, do you do happy birthday Rob on it in some way? So I might do I don't know, it's either going to be flat and I pipe it, or it's going to be like candy melts and then I can put sticks on it and like stick it in and it's going to be like a nice tall topper. I haven't finished deciding, but it's not going to be delivered until tomorrow. So I got some time to kind of play around if I want to add anything else to it. But I definitely want to share the chocolate ganache because, like I said, that's one of my favorite parts. Oh, that's so sweet of you to say, Keith. I don't know. Like I said, my time constraint, even my family is like, yeah, we do agree that the time factor might be an issue, but maybe if I work on practicing or something for a competition, we'll have to see how that goes. It would be so cool to meet some of the people that are on those shows, though. Okay, our chocolate ganache has been chilling for, I think, getting close to 10-ish minutes, maybe 8 minutes now. But, let's have a little check on it. Still a little bit warm, so I'm gonna hold off on that. Let's see. But yeah, what do you guys think? What do you think about doing like a topper? To have flat topper or like a 3D topper? I'm leaning towards the 3D just because it will look more fun. But at the same time, it's a little more complicated. I'll need to come up with something that says like happy birthday Rob that I'd actually be able to have all together to be able to have on one stick. I don't know, I might do, there was no even color theme to this cake. So far we have like the white base and then the chocolate, and then I'm thinking about maybe adding some gold in somewhere. I have no idea what a topper is. So a topper is like when you see some cakes and they have like a stick thing in it and then it says, you know, happy birthday or whatever. There's different versions where you can either have a non-edible topper or an edible topper. And I usually like to go for edible in some way. Maybe the stick is obviously not edible, but something to kind of finish off the cake and make it look a little bit more personal, a little more special. So I might add some gold to the topper. I'm thinking that might be kind of fun. This is a gold that I've been using recently that I got, and it's pretty good quality. So I might add this to the topper to kind of give it a little bit of pizzazz. Let's check on our, sorry, there was like a car turning around weirdly in the middle of the street outside. Okay, it's feeling a little bit cooler. Let's give it a little stir, see what it looks like, and we might be able to add our chocolate ganache. Okay, I like it. Seems like it's a little bit thicker. So I'm gonna grab the cake and then we can do what I like to do as a test strip on, you know how I said there's like, I like to pick a front and a back side of the cake. On the back side, I do a test strip to see if the ganache is ready to go. So let's swap this. I think I'll grab the cake really quick. Okay. Oh, let me adjust this. And now is when I pick my, oh, that got a little bit messy. Let me clean that up. Okay. So I have a piping bag right here, and I'm gonna put some chocolate ganache in here, and then we're gonna do a tester drip. Let's see what side looks best. I think I like this right here. So I'm gonna go on the opposite side and do, actually I like it over here. I'm gonna go back over here. We're gonna do a tester drip where I wanna have either on the side or back of the cake. So we're gonna do a tester drip right here. Because as you can see, this cake did not wanna stay covered when I was doing the final coating of buttercream. So that is gonna be on the back. All right, so I don't need to add too much right away because I'm not sure if this is completely ready, but basically we're taking a little bit of our ganache and we're cutting just a little bit off of the tip like that. You can see there's just a little bit gone, not too much. And we're going to kind of go, whoop, I just wanted to come right out. So this might not be ready yet. But we can still do a tester drip. Okay, let's see if we're ready to do this. So the cake is nice and cold. This is a little bit warm just so it can run down, and I go just a little over on the side and just pipe. And then we're gonna let it fall, see how far it goes, if it looks like it's ready. See if it actually stops. If it keeps running down, that means it's not ready. But it does stop. But it has kind of this little like bulge thing going on. I don't know if you can tell that, but I think we're gonna let it set just for a few more minutes in the freezer. Just because it's close, but it's not quite there, because you can see that it kind of, if it's too runny, it can get a little bit of a wonkiness to it. So let's get this back in the bowl, and we're gonna pop it back in the freezer for a couple more minutes. Okay. Okay, let me check the chat. Okay, so 3D, definitely. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It's just so much more exciting to have things not completely flat on top of the cake and have it like, you know, nice and big. Oh, thank you for being here, Jamie. Okay. So like I said, we're gonna let that set for just a couple minutes. And our cake should be fine. Let me try and show you a little bit more like an angle what I'm talking about with this. So you can see like the little bulge right here at the bottom. And then it kind of got a little bit funny, a little bit thinner right there. So it was just because of the temperature wasn't quite right. So you have to add it when it's at the right temperature. Funny enough, I've never actually looked at what the exact temperature is. I always just do a tester drip instead. But yeah, so that's it. It looks a little funny, but again, this is gonna be like either on the back side or on the side, and it's gonna blend in really well. And there's actually different types of drips that you can do, but this is my favorite, is to do like the single drips and then completely cover the top. I'm not a fan of, there's this one thing called a curtain drip, which is where you completely pour your chocolate ganache all over the top and then use your offset spatula to kind of let it naturally go over the sides and kind of do its own drip thing. But I'm not a fan of that just because it's, I don't know. I like to be more precise with doing individually piping each line that you see. But here's kind of preference, also design that you want to do. So but yeah, so there is our tester, and then we're gonna give it another minute or two, and then I'll get the ganache back out, and I think it should be ready at that point. I think it should be cooled enough. We don't want it to be too cool, or else it's going to obviously not run down the cake enough, and it's gonna be a little bit weird. So we want it to be just warm enough to run, but not too much. And let me put this back so you can see. Ugh. This is a big cake. If you're curious, the cake is chocolate cake layers, and there's 4 of them. They're kind of thinner layers. This is a 12-inch cake, so it's a very big cake. So if you hear me going like, ooh, when I lift it, it's because it's a heavy cake. And then it's also filled with a mocha pastry cream, so a chocolate and kind of like espresso pastry cream, which is basically like a pudding. And then obviously coated in buttercream and a little bit of buttercream on the middle layers to make sure the structure is intact. Yeah. So there is our cake like that. And we're gonna check our ganache again. Still a little bit runny. If you have any questions, let me know about anything I've done or what I'm working on. Feel free to ask questions about the process. I'd love to answer them. Of course, if you don't have any questions, that's cool too. Okay, so, but yes, I thought about doing, so for the design, whilst we fill some time, I thought about doing, there's going to be the chocolate drip, so it's going to be a nice chocolate on white vanilla base. And then I thought about doing like the little Jimmy sprinkles, which are like those little tiny sticks along the bottom as a nice border. And then, like I said, the topper, I'm thinking about doing something with candy melts and with doing some type of stick so it can stick in the top and actually like stand. And then adding maybe some, I'm not sure if I want to add rainbow sprinkles and or some edible gold to it. I was not told that gold is off limits for this cake, so this is always kind of fun to add. Oop. There we go. Oh, why doesn't your wife want her to see her, want you to see her making cake? I get it can be a little bit nerve-wracking when you have people watching you. Like if my family's watching me, I feel a little bit weird, but doing this, I feel more normal because I'm used to filming myself anyway. So, that's interesting. Okay, it's been a couple minutes. Let's check our ganache. Would you guys like to see more cake decorating, like basic cake stuff? You bother her too much. I do kind of get that though, because if my family is watching me, I'm kind of like, oh, just stop staring at me. So I do understand where she's coming from. Okay, this feels a little bit better. You can tell it's like thickened up a little bit, but it doesn't feel like it's too thick. So let's test her out. Put some more in our piping bag. think this feels a little bit better. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so we're gonna do it right next to this other tester drip. I like to kind of combine them and then go over the side again. We're gonna do a smaller drip and see how that goes. Going very slowly. I think I might have piped too much. So let's try another one next to that. See, I like to kind of see, I don't mind so much the little kind of bulbs is what I call them at the end right here. I just don't like it when it looks like this where it's like bigger, small, bigger. This looks a little more consistent, like what I'm trying to accomplish here. Okay, so I think that it's good to go. Let's do a few more, see if we still feel good about it. And that's actually one of my favorite parts about this cake stand too, is this little latch here at the bottom. Bless you. This little latch here at the bottom helps to stop the cake when I want, and then I can unlock it and have it move with me. So that's why I've recommended this cake stand before, because I love it. It's Wilton brand. And again, we're trying to stagger, kind of do different lengths of drips. Looks like they're kind of stopping a little earlier than I usually like. They do not want to cooperate today. Okay, looking pretty good. Another short one, another long one. Let's see how far that one goes. Oh, that one goes really far. Which is fine. Sometimes the drips do go down all the way. It's just kind of, again, just about your control. Little drip. A little bit bigger. And again, I like to connect them right at the top along. That's why I keep doing that. Okay, let's continue. Little drip, kind of like a medium drip. So again, just trying to stagger, just so it's different lengths that we're going with here. Again, you can do, there's a couple different ways to do drips, but this is my personal favorite. Another little drip. Those ones end up being kind of similar. Aren't drips so satisfying? Just so fun. Okay. Next one. Little bit. It doesn't have to be precise, just a nice mixture of different lengths and everything. And you can see there's a couple that have gotten kind of to the bottom, but again, that's fine. As long as not all of them are to the bottom, it's going to have a much better effect if they're at different heights. Do another. Let's do another little short one right there. Long one. Okay, and just continuing around the cake. Those aren't as staggered as I usually like, but sometimes that happens. Okay. Okay, we're getting close to the end with this part. Okay, and then now we're going to add chocolate ganache all over the top. Let me see if I can raise this a little bit so you can see it kind of better. There we go. Okay. So we're going to pour our chocolate ganache. Oh, this plastic grab off of here. Okay.
That's really pretty.
Oh, thank you, Mom.
Since I'm staring.
We're gonna use an offset spatula to smooth it out. Nice and pretty quick because, again, it is kind of slowly setting the ganache. Trying to get right up to meet that edge to kind of blend it a little bit, and then sometimes I'll kind of pull towards the middle. Just like that. I'm gonna make it all nice and smooth. Again, some people like to do the whole pour it on top and then do the curtain drip on this side. I just feel like I have more control over the individual drips if I do it that way instead of the curtain. pulling towards the middle. And we're just going to want to try to make this look nice and blended and smooth. Kind of smooth it out a little bit. And we're just carefully going along to smooth it out. Okay, and then one of the things that I sometimes like to do, which I think I'm going to do with this one, is I'll use the tip of the offset spatula to kind of make a nice little swirl on top. So we're going to start like right here. And then we're just going to move our cake stand, and we're just gently pressing into it to kind of give it a little bit of an indent. And then we slowly, very, very slowly start to move it towards the inside of the cake. And then just kind of like whip it away. So it has this nice little swirly effect to it. There's actually a lot of really cool techniques that you can do with just an offset spatula to decorate a cake. Just like what I did right there. You can also use the tip to, I've done like on the side of a cake, doing like a swipe up, and it kind of makes these like vertical lines that are a little bit rustic. You can also do like a little bit of like a squiggly going up. So, but I always love to do that kind of way of finishing a chocolate ganache. I just think it looks nice and pretty. So what do you guys think of the cake so far? It's very basic, like I said, but I think it's turned out pretty good. Some of the drips got, like I said, a little bit further than what I usually would like, but still overall it has a nice staggered effect, which is exactly what we're going for on a chocolate drip. One really cool technique that I'm not going to do for this cake, but we can do is if you freeze or chill the cake at this point and make it chill for like a couple of hours to make sure the ganache is like really, really set, you can actually paint on some edible metallic gold. I think sometimes people mix it with like a little teeny bit of alcohol to make it kind of like a paint, and then you can actually paint your drip so it's going to look like a gold drip, which looks really cool, but it does take a while. But I think that's going to be it for our live today. Like I said, I'm going to come up with the topper. I'm still trying to plan out what that's going to look like exactly, but you guys will for sure see the finished product in some way, shape, or form. Let me see if I can go out a little bit so you guys can see this better. Also, did you guys like having it on my phone instead of on the computer? I think that it kind of worked out so you can be like up and close and kind of more personal with the cake itself or with what I'm decorating. But yeah, there's our cake so far. But like I said, you guys will see the final version. I'm thinking of that sprinkle border and a topper just to kind of give it a little extra something. Yeah, I'm gonna let this chill and then finish decorating it later. But thank you guys so much for closer view, much better. Cool. I will definitely have to do this setup a lot more with stuff like this that I'm decorating. Also, let me know if you guys want to see more cakes in the future, like more stuff kind of like this, but also more decorating. I can definitely start incorporating that more into the lives as well. And like I said, with the cooler weather is going to start to hopefully, it was cool last week and then it decided to come back a little bit with some warmth. So I'm not going to quite start baking on lives just yet, but pretty soon I think we'll be able to actually do some baking together, some cookies and or I don't know, breads or something. I don't know. We'll come up with stuff. but thank you so much for being a part of this live, and I hope you have a really great day and an awesome weekend. And yeah, have fun.